FIBA have just suspended GB's men's national team basketball from all international competitions. If nothing changes, that means that there will be no GB basketballs at future Olympics, Eurobasket, or for the most likely outcome, no GB basketball at the Commonwealth Games playing 3x3 and having a chance to defend their title. In the summer of 2025, GB had qualified as one of the 24 teams for Eurobasket. And quite frankly, while they were there, they had an absolute mare. They lost their first 4 games by an average of 34 points. And that included getting destroyed by eventual Eurobasket champions by an absolutely devastating score of 120 to 57. However, there was one glimpse of light at the end of the tunnel, and that was GB securing their first win in over 13 years against Montenegro. But now that has all been demolished as FIBA have handed down one of the heaviest sanctions possible, suspending the men's national team from international competition. And how did we get here? Well, this all stems from a dispute between the British Basketball Federation, our FIBA-appointed governing body, and Super League Basketball, the private company consisting of 9 of the biggest franchises in Britain, which currently makes up the top flight of British basketball. The British Basketball Federation was seeking to award a long-term licence to run the men's professional league here in Great Britain. And in April 2025, they confirmed that they had awarded the licence to a group run by private investors but being led by Marshall Glickman, called the Great British Basketball League, or the GBBL, and had awarded them a licence for 15 years. Super League Basketball had held the position that actually the tender process that was run by BBF was illegal and corrupt and didn't represent a fair or serious offer to the future of British basketball. They cited the $25,000 cost to submit a bid or the $1.5 million a year cost for the licence fee. Both groups have had a really public back and forth spat. And this summer, the British Basketball Federation took away recognition from the SLB as an official league. And it's been alleged that they were warning off refs from participating or refereeing Super League basketball games. There was also some high-profile disputes about BBF's position to block clubs and being able to give licence to foreign players to play in the UK. It wasn't until the UK government, the Home Office, intervened that non-British passport holders were allowed to enter the country. Both parties are now suing each other in the High Courts. This led FIBA in August at the end of Eurobasket to appoint a task force to review the situation in British basketball and help take the relevant steps in order to bring it back into a tenable situation. Just days after arriving in London, the first bombshell dropped, and the chair of the BBF, Chris Grant, elected to leave his post, citing personal reasons. However, getting the news just 2 days later that the men's national team has been suspended from all competitions now just shows that the cited personal reasons that Chris Grant gave was a laughable attempt to give him a way to escape with dignity instead of being ousted by FIBA for his behaviour. But let's break down now the FIBA statement bit by bit. The first paragraph really sets out the aims of the task force that was established by FIBA. Quote, addressing the apparent governance issues and non-regulatory non-compliance in British basketball. The next paragraph then highlights that the initial task force have completed their review and provided their recommendations, and that is all that this particular task force was initially set up to do. We then move into the recommendation themselves that have multiple elements. First, that the BBF can't licence or recognise competitive men's national teams, field any national teams in any senior competitions. The big knock here from my perspective is the 3x3 team. Obviously, Team London just had a huge win on the competitive professional 3x3 circuit, and you had to think that a team led by Ashley Hamilton and Evan Walsh and co were gearing up for a really huge Commonwealth Games in Glasgow in 2026, where they would have been really highly ranked, if not the favourites to win that competition. Secondly, from this statement, we also have to recognise there is no end date attached to this suspension, so it could go on seemingly indefinitely until a resolution is found. The second recommendation then is that a new task force is set up as a way to develop an interim governance framework, and they would do this alongside basketball stakeholders and the UK government. The final line calls out that this activity is to restore integrity. So clearly FIBA is saying that the current situation or the current way that things were being operated lacked integrity, and sustainability. Again, from FIBA's viewpoint, the current BBF plans were not sustainable. Now, has FIBA ever done something like this before? Well, kind of. In Japan, there was a point of time where two rival leagues were operating at the same point and creating real friction in Japan as a basketball nation. Both the JBA and the BJ League were suspended from operations, and Japan was not able to participate in senior national competitions. A task force was established by FIBA, and it was established in November 2014. The task force worked really quickly and established first a new chair and to find a compromise in terms of governance and structure that would allow the both sides to coexist. This reached a conclusion in May 2015, so around 6 months later, with the suspension officially being lifted in August 2015. But the key difference here is the scale and size of the two competing leagues. At the time, both Japanese leagues had 24 teams each. Contrast that to the UK, where the SLB has 9 functioning franchises, while the GBBL has none. It feels like it could be harder to find a compromise when one side has all the teams and the other is just bringing cash and some pipe dreams. Expecting to soon hear more from both sides, and we'll keep you up to date on our YouTube and our socials, so make sure you smash the like button, hit subscribe, and make sure to comment down below what are your thoughts and feelings about FIBA suspending GB from international men's competitions.